it's kind of apples, oranges, and bricks. It's apples and oranges are two edible fruit species. So I guess it's easy to understand why people could kind of confuse or distort the relationship between the NWO and the Attitude Era, for example. I personally don't. And, Sean, who I'll be with you, April 22nd, we've talked about this on our podcast. One of the reasons, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but one of the reasons why the DX in the Attitude Era was as successful as it was because of Sean Waltman. Because Sean Waltman gave it credibility. Sean Waltman, just like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were the two guys that came over and kind of turned WCW upside down, Sean Waltman was the guy that left the NWO and went over to WWE, and they came back and turned WCW upside down. So I think Sean Waltman probably deserves a lot more credit in the overall success of the Attitude Era and the NWO than people really give him credit for. But ECW, going back to that, I never watched ECW. First of all, it was only available on a very limited kind of scale. And it just wasn't my cup of tea anyway. And I think one thing that, Paul Heyman did a lot of amazing things, and I'm friends with a lot of guys that were right there at the epicenter of it. Bubba Dudley's a good friend of mine, and we stay in touch and we talk. We've talked a lot over the years. We've worked together. We've worked in creative together. We've worked in the ring together. We've sat in a room full of dozens of people and listened to them babble about what they thought they knew about storytelling and wrestling, and we both look at each other and just roll our eyes. But Bubba will be the first one to tell me, how innovative Paul Heyman was, and I recognize that. But there was a difference between the Paul Heyman style of innovation and some of the crazy stuff that Paul did, which was really out of the box in terms of way of presenting wrestling at that time. Paul innovated a lot of crazy stuff. But there was nothing but Paul did that was anywhere, in my opinion, remotely close to, again, the storytelling perspective and the arc of the NWO. Nothing.